Well, good morning everybody, this is DearMamaSal at a slightly different angle, and I'll explain that in a second. It's 2 degrees here in southern British Columbia, which would make it pretty cold at 36 in American. I almost feel I should have gloves on. Beautiful day. Really beautiful day. Not a cloud in the sky, which is probably why it's so cold. Our warm blankie of clouds has been pushed aside for the day. But hopefully the sun will gain some strength during the next few hours and it won't feel as cold. I believe, if the weather forecast is correct, that we're going to have 3 or 4 days in double digits, which would be wonderful. I'm really looking forward to that. Now, the reason that the camera's in a different angle is that I took it off the mount took the mount off to reposition the camera so that the clamp at the top wasn't over the microphone, and put it in sideways, and then I couldn't get the mount back on the windshield. But you know me, I will not be beaten by something as pathetic as that. Yeah, I spat on it and did all sorts of, well, yeah. I did all the right things, I believe. I just, for some reason, maybe it was just too damp inside the car for it to stick. I don't know. But we will try it again tomorrow. So, I have no idea how this is going to look from the other side, but I just want to see whether the not covering up the microphone helps the ambient noise. What I noticed was, it was very muffled, and understandably so when you've got things almost covering the microphone area. The strange thing was, my previous camera also had that, but I didn't notice it as much with that. Maybe because I didn't know any better, I don't know. We will find out. Now, in terms of the experiments I did yesterday, it actually quite amazed me, because after letting the camera run this weekend and run itself out and then recharge the battery, and I think I did that twice over the weekend, the difference was that the battery lasted for close to an hour yesterday. By the time I finished the test on the way home, it lasted close to an hour, which is pretty damn good, I thought. And then what really stunned me was my cell phone battery. After I vlogged all the way to work, because I ran them both on the way to work just to see, still had like 75% battery left in it. Now obviously it has slightly different definition, whatever. But it certainly was interesting to see the difference between the two. So part of me goes, go up in quality, go down in battery life. Makes sense, right? So that's why I pulled the quality of the picture down 1 notch to see how much extended, and then once I know the battery is fully, after about a week, I'm going to go up a notch again and see how long that high definition lasts. That very high definition, not high, very high. Now, I did go out last night, as I knew I would have to, and buy a special adapter for the Canon, which I'm happy to have, because now it means that I can charge the battery while I'm at work. I also bought a spare battery for it for the times when I can't charge the battery. So all in all, I'm now covered, I think, with the Canon. And now it's just a case of getting used to it and enjoying it for all that it brings me. In the meantime, my Samsung 6, which is my new phone, really does make me chuckle, because it's still the same, just a little bit bigger than my previous cell phone, but everything else in it is just so much improved. So it's amazing the technology increase in a couple of years, and that, I must admit, is part of the reason why I do like to change my cell phone every 2 or 3 years, because you're getting the better everything. However, there's a lot to be said for not changing it, and I'm certain that a lot of you have not upgraded your cameras and your cell phones and are quite happy. And so I think it boils down to how much of a techno geek are you. Now, as you know, I'm afraid I am a little bit of a snob when it comes to my techno stuff. I don't know why, and I say a snob, I don't mean that in a nasty way. In other words, I do like to stay within arm's length of what's going on, if not right at the moment, at this, not necessarily the pointy edge of the spear, but I actually like to be within a couple of years. And in a way, I need to be, so I know what everybody's talking about. And one of the things that I notice is if you're not sort of doing that and not experiencing those problems, then when you get into conversations, you have no idea what people are talking about. I mean, I was talking to Yvonne on a text yesterday about megapixels, and the fact that, you know, the new Samsung cell has 16 megapixel pictures. And I thought it was so cute, because Yvonne wrote back to me and said, I have no idea what you're talking about, but it sounds like a WOWZER. And I thought that was so cute. I just burst out laughing. And I just went, yeah, that would be a WOWZER. It's something that makes you go, wow. But, you know, like, does Yvonne need to know? No. Because she doesn't use camera. She uses her cell phone mostly for texting and speaking to her dad. So I just thought it was so cute. By the way, I did manage to solve a problem, and I don't know, I must warn anybody that changes telephones, cell phones and so forth. For some reason, when I connected to try and send Yvonne some texts over the weekend, I picked up her old telephone number, not the current one. I didn't even know it was in there. It isn't anymore. Anyway, so I sent her a whole series of texts over the weekend. To the wrong number. I'm certain I'm the only one that's ever done that. Right. It was funny though. I eventually sent her an email and asked her, are you getting my texts? Because it's not like Yvonne to completely ignore me for 2 days. And she went, no. And I went, oh, okay. Then I eventually just swallowed my ego and went, Is your number still da-da-da-da-da? She went, no. This is beautiful. Hang on a second, everybody. Just going to show you. If you, I don't know how much of an angle you've got here, but if you look to the right, if you can see it, we've got snow-covered mountains. A beautiful sunny day in snow-covered mountains. I don't know about you, but there's just something about that that is really pretty. I can always remember when I first arrived in British Columbia and I was so upset because I wasn't used to the amount of rain and darkness. That they said one day, very soon, you will be driving and it'll be a crystal clear day. The sun will be shining and there will be snow on the mountains and you will be grateful for the rainy days if it means that you can see a picture like that. And you know, it is true. There's part of me that goes, that is really true. We have had an incredibly mild winter. I think we had a dusting of snow one day and that's it. Now I know it's not over yet. And we could still have some pretty bad weather, but a day like today makes you really appreciate living here. Any minute all the brown is going to start turning green again. And then we all remember why we live in the Pacific Northwest. Now the other thing I treated myself to yesterday, because it's on my list of things I wanted to get before I retire and have to go very frugal for a couple of years, I wanted to get a particular gizmo, let's call it that way, for doing the vlogs once I retire, so that I've got a tripod, I've got a small tripod, and there was another thing that I want, which is a vertical, and I managed to find that yesterday, so I got that. So I'm just about up to date with the technology that I wanted to have around me, ready for the next couple of years. And I know that sounds really strange, but I know that I'm going to be doing completely different things once I retire, in as much as I won't be driving. And so I will be doing probably more experimental stuff that I know that some of you really enjoy. Just to let you know that I am thoroughly enjoying the butter lettuce. I don't know if any of you heard about that, and if you weren't on the broadcast, I think I did do a video, but I might not have put it up yet because I am trying to hold some video back in case I get sick. Anyway, so that's what I think. But what I did was I realized that butter lettuce also has roots on it, and therefore why could I not add it to my hydroponic garden that I appear to have now? And I bought 2 butter leti from the Latin. I don't know. 2 butter lettuce at the weekend, and I've kept them in water. And I am working from the outside in on one of them. And then next week I will work on the other one and go from the outside in. Now I am probably only a third of the way into the first lettuce, and I'm just mixing it. One of my favorite discoveries of last year was the sweet kale salad. I don't know if any of you have ever tried that, but much to my surprise, I've got to say that, much to my surprise, sweet kale salad, when you add all the bits in and everything, is actually a very, very tasty salad. You know, it's the one you buy in a bag at the market, and you know, you sort of add pumpkin seeds and cranberries, I think they add in a package, and it's already there when you buy it, and then with poppy seed dressing. Well, the combination of all those tastes, I want to tell you, is actually quite amazing. Ah, that was interesting. I just nearly saw, well, I don't want to laugh because it wasn't funny, I nearly saw a local municipal truck take out a pedestrian. Luckily, his brakes worked. I think the pedestrian decided that he was going to walk in front of the truck. And probably, you know, it was at a corner, and probably, you know, the truck was coming around the corner. Didn't bother to check if he had eye contact with the driver. That's one of the things that you really need to be aware of, I found, if you're walking, is you need to have eye contact with the car that you're about to step in front of. In other words, if you haven't got eye contact with the driver, the chances are the driver hasn't seen you. You know, if I get a nod, I know that he's seen me, sort of thing, you know, or a smile or whatever. But if they've got their head turned away from you, you'd be surprised to hear they can't see you. Unless they are that very rare breed, which I know we all had as mothers, you know, the people with eyes in the back of their head. But it seems to me that it only happens to our mothers. Why is that? Other people don't seem to have that ability. Never quite worked that one out. Now I've got a fun day because I'm going to be interviewing my new student today, so you can be sure that he's probably petrified, or not. And he'll be coming this afternoon, which will make a nice end to my day. Very proud of myself. For those of you who've been following my walking, I have now walked Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I've walked 5 days of the last 7. And yesterday I only did what I call the 10-minute challenge walk, which is half a block and back. But it made me feel like a sense of accomplishment that I did it. I am seriously very proud of myself for that, because I didn't particularly want to, but it wasn't raining. You know, I really didn't have an excuse. I hadn't started to do the vlogging yet, to edit or anything. And here's what I've discovered: that I'll always make time to do the vlog. eventually. Now, I paid the price of it yesterday because I actually fell asleep before I literally published the vlog. I woke up this morning and went, oh gosh, I guess I never released the video when I finished it. Sorry about that for those who are waiting. But I really did. I managed to walk 5 days out of 7. And my back, after my fall last week, I'm just straight. Well, I've quickly just grabbed my phone because I see that my camera died. Now, the reason it died was because I charged up that battery last night. And then charged up the second battery. So obviously this battery has drained some overnight. The experiments one has to do until one finds out what works and what doesn't. So forgive the angle of the phone, but I just wanted to make sure I finished the vlog properly. Alright everybody, so have a super day. Look after one another, and most of all, remember to look after yourselves. And aren't I lucky to have these problems? I know that sounds strange, but I'm so blessed to have a problem where I've got a fancy camera and I'm trying to work out how the fancy battery works in the fancy camera. If I didn't have a fancy camera, I wouldn't have this problem, right? So I'm very blessed. I just got to get the right combination going and all will be well. Okay, everybody, have a super day. Look after one another. Just met a gentleman who allowed me to take your space. This is DearMamaSal saying bye-bye for now. Bye.